I want to talk about a number of issues that have happened today or come to light today. I'm going to start with a small quotation from a case about a whistleblower and the Royal Bank of Canada, and the case is called Banbury, and it's a genuine whistleblowing case. I'm not, there's no question about that. But this is what the National Observer in Canada wrote about the Banbury case. Banbury has received assistance from Whistleblowers UK, which helped him piece together his evidence and organise his court documents. The charity provides support and information to whistleblowers, and CEO Georgina Halford Hall has attended every day of the trial so far and says, quote, "We have provided free administrative work because we believe so strongly in John's case," she told the National Observer, unquote. So that's the newspaper, and that's what the public are told. However, Dr. Min Alexander uncovered this piece of crucial information from the actual Banbury case documents. This is the judge speaking, and I quote from the verdict. Item 31. "Before the costs application was heard, I raised with the parties that I was concerned to establish whether the invoice from Whistleblowers UK covered regulated services as listed in Regulation 4 of the Compensation Regulated Claims Management Services Order 2006. He is the judge, so bear with me about the boring bits. "Made under the Compensation Act 2006, which created offences, as if so, it did not appear at first sight that Whistleblowers UK, a company limited by guarantee, was registered as a charity or was a regulated claims manager, and it might be necessary to consider their status when deciding whether it was lawful or contrary to public policy to order payment of their costs. The claimant had not taken this point, but had argued that the invoice was not for legal services, but represented preparation time, and the claimant could not claim both that and costs. In the course of the hearing, without further discussion, the claimant withdrew the claim for the Whistleblowers UK invoice. This left the claims for junior counsel fees." That is the judge, and I'm quoting from there. "Firstly, Whistleblowers UK is not a charity, and this is the second time that the same journalist has described them as a charity. They are not a charity and should not be pretending to do so. I can understand it might have happened once, but not twice. The second thing is, either Whistleblowers UK have lied to the Canadian National Observer in saying that they believed in this man's case so much that they gave free support. Either that's true, or either the judge is lying and they hadn't submitted an invoice for the entire running costs for 1 year of compassionate care, which is the equivalent of what they invoiced for. So one or the other is true. Either way, they've lied to somebody, which is a serious thing when you consider that as a whistleblowing organisation who's trying to support whistleblowers, you have to be above reproach and you have to stand true to your principles, even if those principles mean, like with us, we have very little funding, but the funding is clean. We stand by our principles and always have, and never deviated from them. Whistleblowers UK are misleading the public with this article, or they're misleading the court, one or the other. Which brings me to our petition to Parliament raising concerns about Whistleblowers UK as, being a secretariat to an all-party group on whistleblowing. At the end of the day, we know that they're funded by Constantine Cannon, the bounty hunting law firm. The agenda being to push through, bounty hunting law here and not proper protection for whistleblowers. I'm speechless, to be quite honest, to have come across this, because we consistently have always said the same thing, and we fought for 18 years for the inquiry into whistleblowing that whistleblowers deserve and that families who've lost their loved ones deserve, and for the law to be brought in that will protect whistleblowers, which is Edna's law. And we're not paid by anybody to promote this. We are just doing it because it's the right thing. The second thing is, we've raised this with Parliament in a petition to Parliament. It's one of the issues we've raised, and we have actually been obstructed by the Petitions Office in Parliament. because basically we've had petitions put through before, we know all the rules, we've abided by them this time, but we're being censored because the content of the petition challenges the fact that lobbyists, paid lobbyists, are running Parliament, and they're able to put their own agendas through. Constantine Cannon and Whistleblowers UK, a front for a whistleblowing support organisation, are allowed to put their own agendas through when they're clearly pro-bounty hunting. If we'd have been asked to be a secretariat, we would have said no. There's no way. You can't serve whistleblowers and serve yourself. We're not in it for, esteem. What we're here to do is to tell the truth and fight for justice. So yes, I am angry about that. And then, lo and behold, the other thing that we've raised in this petition, which can now be read on our website, is the fact that Parliament have had a debate and they've all said how they've recently discovered that maybe the whistleblowing law is not working so well. I'm sorry, but they knew that from the very first case, and I can prove they knew it with hundreds of documents. They knew, and we petitioned Parliament and we wrote to every single Department of State, including Agriculture and Fisheries, which were more helpful than the Health Department at the time, to be honest. But we left no stone unturned. They all knew, and now it's an embarrassment, because if they'd have acted then, whistleblowers could have been protected long ago, and lives would have been saved. Countless lives would have been saved. But they didn't act. They chose to ignore it and to respond with, I quote, no comment. So that's the other thing that's in the petition, and which obviously they're not very keen on because it doesn't make them look too good. At the end of the day, it's Guy Fawkes Day today, or Guy Fawkes Night tonight. So it's very apt to talk about Parliament and the kind of platforms, the kind of people it gives a platform to with such APPGs. And also David Behan, the former head of C-Sky and CQC, who on his watch, countless elderly people and vulnerable adults have been exposed to abuse, suffering, rape covered up, a shambles of a registration and inspection system. And now he is saying, after he's got his knighthood and got out, and got a job with a care provider, HC1, which we won't even touch on at this point, he's now saying that the public should have deductions taken from their wages to pay for social care. I agree, social care should be paid for, and we should all contribute, and the public would agree with that. But what I do not agree with is that we're paying for poor social care and feeding into the profit margins of big companies and also asset strippers who come in and strip care home companies like Southern Cross. I refuse to pay for poor care, and unless we can have confidence in the social care system we've got, then nothing will change. And at the end of the day, if David Behan thinks people should have deductions taken from their wages, well, the biggest deduction should come from his, because he's got more blood on his hands than Annie, head of the regulator, since I've been doing this campaign for 18 years. So that's what I feel about that. So on Bonfires Night, I'd say to Parliament, you need to look closely at what's going on under your roof, who you're harbouring, what systems you're allowing to be abused, and paid lobbyists. We didn't vote for Constantine Cannon, the bounty hunting law firm, so tell me why they're dictating to us on an issue so important about the public interest and the protection of whistleblowers who speak out in the public interest. That is the final straw. A line has been crossed and it can't go on. So at the end of the day, I'm beginning to think that there's good reason why we celebrate Bonfire Night. And next year, I think we need to do a whistleblowers bonfire night, and the person with the most blood on their hands for the year that's been harboured by Parliament can be up for the nominations. So, thank you.